there. Thanks for joining me this morning again on Dr. Teach Me to Parent. We have a great program for you today. We're going to look at some of the issues of parenting, first of all. You know, how parents need to take care of themselves and some of the things that parents need to know so they can teach their children certain skills that are going to be important in their life. And then we're going to end today's program looking at a particular type of child, that is the depressed child. The child is struggling in life and struggling in home and school with depression, and how parents can address that particular issue in a constructive and helpful kind of way. So join us today. Get yourself a cup of coffee and relax, and let's take a look at our issues today. We're going again from my book, Dr. Teach Me to Parent. And the subtitle of the book includes 62 lessons, 62 issues of children and their problems, and how you as a parent can intentionally address those issues in the life of a child. So there's 62 lessons in there, and there ought to be something in there for you that you could benefit from as a parent and help your kids. So get a hold of the book, and my website is on the screen there. You can get it there, or Amazon, Barnes & Noble, some of those online purchasing sources. So anyway, thanks for joining us today, and we've got a great program, and let's take a look at what we're going to do today. Now, like I usually do, I'd like to put a little piece of poetry before you that will kind of capture and put into context what we're going to talk about today. And this is a little piece of poetry. It's on a plaque. I have it hanging in my office just to remind me, just to give me a focus of some of the things that are very important. And I look at it periodically, and it just keeps me refreshed. So let me share it with you today as we kind of take a look at it. That Man is a Success is the title of it. That man is a success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who has gained the respect of intelligent men and the love of children. Let me just emphasize that. That man is a success if he has gained the respect of intelligent men, but also the love of his children, who has filled his niche and accomplished his task, who leaves the world better than he found it, whether by an improved poppy or a perfect poem or a rescued soul, who never lacks appreciation for earth's beauty or failed to express it. And then lastly, get this one, who has looked for the best in others and gave the best he had. That's the man who is a success, who gains the respect and the love of his children. Critical. Dad, you got to behave in a manner that promotes respect and promotes the love of your children, for you. And that you give all you have. You give the very best you have to your family, to your children. Very important little piece of poetry, but a good little thought and a good little concept to keep in mind on a day-to-day basis. We can be a success, not just as a father, not just as a businessman, not just as a husband, but we can be a success in all the areas of life that we find ourselves as men. Now, let's take a look at our topic today, okay? Parents need to take care of themselves first. If you don't take care of yourself, you're going to have a hard time raising your children. You have to be healthy as a parent. You have to have your life in order. You need to know the skills that are important in parenting. You need to have a good grasp of those skills in parenting so that you can teach them then to your children. So you have to start with yourself. Are you taking care of yourself as a parent? And are you taking care of yourself as a husband, as a wife, as a mother, as a father? So let's take a look at what those might be. What are some of those self-help skills, self-help ideas that you got to keep in mind? Now let me just teach you a little idea here. I'm going to read off a number of these little self-help ideas. But I want you at this point in time to, on a 10-point scale, give yourself a mark. Give yourself a measure. 10 is I'm doing very well if it's a 10. But if it's a 1, I'm not doing very well at all. So on each of these points, give yourself a score from 1 to 10. And at the end, we'll add them up. Now, a perfect score would be 60. Well, you're probably not going to get a 60. But we don't want you to have a 1 either. So look at the range of score from 1 to 10 on each of these points and give yourself a little bit of a rating. So be honest, be straightforward. If you score low, well, then you got some work ahead of you. Score high, you're doing quite well, and you can be pleased, for that. But what are some of the ways that you need to just take care of yourself? Well, here's number one. You have to learn to take criticism. You have to learn to take correction and not be defensive about it. Don't deny it. Don't be defensive. Correction is for your good. Correction is for your betterment. Correction is always for that you'll do something better in the future. Not how well you're doing it now, but how well you can do it and might be able to do it in the future. When people give you criticism, it could come from a grandparent, it could come from your own parents, it could come from your kids, it could come from a teacher, it could come from friends. Whoever it comes from, people give feedback, people give criticism, people give correction. Take it openly. See the truth in it. Now, in criticism, it's probably not all true, but there'll be truth in it somewhere. So take that truth and benefit from it, and don't just throw it away by denial. So criticism is an important thing. So how are you doing on criticism, taking criticism? Can you take it? Can you take correction? Give yourself a score from 1 to 10. Okay? Now, number 2, here's another one. Be willing to be less than perfect. I use the word be adequate. You want to be adequate as a parent. You want to be adequate for your kids at certain ages. You want to be adequate for your kids in certain situations that they face. You want to be adequate in areas of your life, in your own life, as you deal with issues and stress and people in your life and people who come and go and work and home and neighbors and friends and church and so on. How are you doing in terms of being less than perfect? We sometimes want to just be the ultimate best parent. We want to be the ultimately best spouse. We want to look good in the eyes of other people. You don't need to do that. Don't put that pressure on yourself. Don't put that demand on yourself. You need to be adequate, for the occasion. You need to be adequate for the situation you're in. But you don't have to be perfect. So give yourself a score. How are you in this area of balancing the issue of perfection? If you are demanding that of yourself, that's not good. That'd be a low score. But if you're reasonable, that would be a high score. So give yourself a score from 1 to 10 in the area of how much you are willing to be less than perfect. Okay? Now, here's number 3. Surround yourself with people who are good for you and who make you feel confident, make you feel strong, make you feel good. There are people in your life that support you, and people in your life that love you, and people in your life that want you to do well, and there are probably people in your life that are pretty critical of you and are pretty sarcastic and pretty mean-spirited and create stress for you and create demand on you that you can't meet. Of course, there's all kinds of people they have in your life. But what you need to do in taking care of yourself is to make sure you have a cadre of people in your life that are good for you and that make you feel strong and confident, because they're strong and confident and they bring out the best in you. That's the kind of people you want in your life. So how are you doing there? Give yourself a score from 1 to 10. Look at the people in your life. Are they people who create stress or relieve stress? Are these people who create confidence, or do they take away your confidence? Do they give you peace, or do they take away your peace? What kind of people are in your life? So give yourself a score there, 1 to 10. Hopefully you have people in your life that bring out the best in you and bring out the confidence in you and just help you be a good person yourself, okay? So that's the next one. Now here's it goes on another. Take care of your body. You got to eat right. You need exercise. You need to spend some time in meditation. And you need to spend some time exercising and relaxing, okay? Now, how are you doing there? Do you have a relaxation time? Whether it's reading, or you just take a little nap, or you just kind of sit and let your body relax and let your muscles go and let them become calm and comfortable. Do you have a time for that? Do you take time for exercise? Do you take a walk? Do you get on a bicycle and ride it? Do you swim? Do you do some stretch exercises? I mean, what are you doing in the area of exercise? Your body needs exercise. And in the course of the day, you need to do that 3 to 4 times to make sure your body has the exposure of exercise. So do it. Do you meditate? Do you spend time just alone? Do you spend time in prayer? Do you spend time in thought? Do you spend time in just meditative reading and careful reading? Do you spend time just thinking things through, reflecting on your day, reflecting on your future, reflecting on what's happened in your past, reflecting on your children, reflecting on your marriage? I mean, what do you reflect on? So spend time just meditating. And then make sure you have a balanced diet. Make sure you eat well. Get your fruits and vegetables, basically. Make sure you're doing all that, okay? So here's the deal. Take care of yourself. Take care of your body. Because your body is what's strong, and you need that to do the tasks that are before you. Okay, give yourself a score, 1 to 10. How are you doing in terms of taking care of your body? Are you a 10, an 8, 9? Are you a 1, or 2, or 3? Be careful, but be honest, with yourself in that regard. Okay, that's that. Now the next one is devote your time. Devote time to, obviously, to work, obviously to play. Devote time to laughter. Devote time to learning experiences and exercises, and take time for socializing. You see, you need to have a variety of stuff going on in your life to reduce the boredom, but also to give you stimulation, to give you exercise, and to give you thought patterns to develop, and to develop your mind, and develop your brain, and develop your personality, and develop all the potential that you have as an individual, as a parent. So how are you doing in that area? Are you working? Are you working too much, too little? Is it the right balance for you at this point in time in your life and in the life of your children? Do you have time for play? Are you playing with the kids? Do you play with each other as a couple? Are you as a couple, are you spending some time playing? Are you playing tennis? Are you doing some more? Are you bicycling? Are you doing something that is enjoyable that would be considered play? You need that in the course of a week. Are you spending time laughing? Can you laugh at yourself? Can you laugh at your husband? Can you laugh at your wife? Can you laugh at your children? Can you laugh at circumstances in your life? Can you tell jokes? Get some humor going in your life. Make sure that there's kind of a cause for laughter and a cause for joy that you bring into your life. And then make sure you spend some time socializing as well. You have to have your own friends. It's fine spending time with your kids, but they're kids. They are not your friend. Your child is never your best friend. Don't be that as a parent. Your child should never be your best friend. Your best friend needs to be an adult. It needs to be your spouse. It needs to be somebody in your extended family, be somebody in your neighborhood, be somebody in your church, somebody in your friendship circle, wherever it might be. But you need your friendships. The children need their friendships. But you can't be their best friend, and they can't be your best friend. Okay? So don't get into that friendship situation with you're the parent, but not a friend to your child. You can be friendly. It can be joyous, and you can have good times together, and you can enjoy each other. But don't get that idea that your child is your best friend. You need friends of your own at the adult level that you think in and in terms of you live within, okay? So devote your time. Make sure you have adequate time for those kinds of things. Give yourself a score from 1 to 10. How are you doing in that area? If you're doing quite well, give yourself a 10. If you're not, you're down on the lower end of the scale. So see how well you're doing there. And then lastly, keep a safe distance between yourself and sources of stress in your life. There's all kinds of stress going on in your life. Sometimes you have parents, your parents that create stress, grandparents that create stress, neighbors create stress, friends create stress, people at work create stress for you. You create stress for yourself. You create stress in your family life, in your marital life. There's areas of stress, many, many, many areas of stress. And what you need to make sure that you create a distance between yourself and that source of stress so that you're safe and that you're comfortable and that you can function and not be overwhelmed by the stress that people bring to you and bring into your life. Obviously, manage the stress, control the stress, try to stop it, try to bring it down. But if you can't, you got to keep a distance so that you're taking care of yourself. So give yourself a score from 1 to 10 on that area. How are you doing in terms of managing your stress, keeping yourself at a safe distance from the source of stress in your life? Okay, so take your points. We just went through. If you had 10 on all of them, of course, you'd have a 60, right? So that would be that'd be the highest score. You probably didn't get that and probably shouldn't have gotten a 60, actually. But you don't want a 10 either, because that means you gave yourself 1 in everything. So where were you in that scale of from 10 to 60? Kind of where'd you fall in that? Hopefully you fell in the 50s, maybe the 40s, maybe 35, you know. But that means you got some work to do. Pick these areas and see what new work you do. So you can do that by just doing this. What stressor do you need to address? What kind of source of stress do you need to take care of and do something about? What strategy should you use? How should you go about controlling that stress? How should you go about trying to bring it under control so it doesn't bother you and doesn't bug you and doesn't do the best of you, okay? And then, what kind of help do you need? What kind of help do you need to kind of make sure your life is moving forward and you're positive and you're growing and you're being effective as a parent? What kind of help do you need? You need the help of a psychologist? Find one. Lots of them in our community. Okay? Do you need somebody who will help you in your marriage and your family? Find somebody that'll help you there. Talk to people. You have friends that will sit down and talk to you and perhaps give you their perspective and show you what they do and how they handle situations. What kind of help do you need? If you need help, get it. Don't sit back and just think about it. Go talk to somebody. See how you're doing. Get an assessment from somebody. And then get a plan for how you can deal with the stressors in your life so you as a parent are in good shape to be a parent to your kids. And that's the concept. You want to be the parent that's healthy because then your kids will be healthy. Your kids will be responded to in a healthy way, will be raised in a healthy way. But if you're not healthy, you're going to have a hard time raising healthy kids. So you got to start with yourself. Be healthy, be positive, be strong, be confident. Get the skills that are necessary so that you can raise your children to be effective young people. Well, we're going to take a break, and let me just tell you this. We're going to come back and look at some of the things you need to teach your children. If you take care of yourself, then you're in a position to teach your children. And we'll look at some of the skills that are very, very important that you teach your children so that, and they learn those skills so they'll be effective, not only as young people, but as a marital partner when they get of that age. And when they're a parent, that they'll be a good parent. Good parents bring about good parents. So we're going to take a look at that process in just a minute. Join me back here in a little bit. Go get some coffee. I'll see you in a few minutes.
Green Gables Care Home is a 24-hour assisted living facility for the elderly, located in Clovis, California, offering spacious private and semi-private rooms which are wheelchair-approved, catering to the special person in your life who needs attention and wants to live in a loving home environment. The Green Gables Care Home has assisted living and secured homes for elderly persons with Alzheimer's, memory loss, and for your loved ones needing assistance with their activities of daily living. Call 559-307-0950 and visit GreenGablesCareHome.com.
Sometimes good intentions hurt rather than help. For just $1.76 per meal, the Fresno Rescue Mission offers more than food. We offer hope. Please donate today.
Do you need a locksmith? Layman's Lock and Safe Service and Repair is available for you. 559-228-1805.
Gained a lot, learned a lot, and got a lot of love. If it weren't for the knowledge that I had gained from the classes at PCC, I probably wouldn't be the mom I am today. See, there it goes.
I would love you to meet my son, Aaron. My situation was very difficult. I didn't know how my life was going to turn out.
We graduated in June 2010 and we got married in July. And through family, the Pregnancy Care Center changed our lives.
The Pregnancy Care Center was a huge, vital part in helping me walk through that pregnancy, in educating me and loving on me during that time.
Choosing a Medicare plan can be difficult and frustrating. Susan Hatch can guide you through the Medicare maze and help find the right plan for you. Susan helps people understand the confusing and drastic changes that occur every year in Medicare. Susan will only recommend plans that will protect your assets and allow you to continue to see your personal doctor. As a 100% independent agent, Susan is not controlled by any particular insurance company to steer a person onto any one particular plan. Susan was awarded the #1 Medicare supplement agent in California. Look for Susan's Medicare question and answers every Monday in the Fresno Bee. Call Susan at 559-307-2287 and visit MedicareToday.net.
Come learn how to be a better author at the Christian Writers Seminar at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church on Saturday, February 10th, 2018.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Okay, good to have you back with me. Dr. Teach Me to Parent. Make sure you get a copy of the book from the website or from Barnes & Noble or Amazon or some other source. And follow along with me. We got 62 lessons in here about how you can be a better and an effective parent with your children. Now, in the first segment today, we had a very important topic. And that is, you as a parent need skills of keeping yourself healthy, of keeping yourself well, and keeping yourself in a well-organized manner so that you are ready to teach your children, that you are prepared to handle your children. You are capable, you're ready with the skills and with the necessary energy and with the purpose and the mission, so to speak, to handle your children. You're not their friend, you're their parent. So the question is now, how do you parent your children? What are some of the things you need to teach your children? See, parents are teachers. Parents are the first teachers children have. And parents need to be an effective teacher. They need to accept themselves as a teacher. We have our teachers in our schools, but you're the teacher in the home. And you need to just take on that role of being a teaching parent. So what are some of the things that you need to teach your children? Now, when I go through the list, here's what I want you to do. Like in the first segment, give yourself a score from 1 to 10. 1 is you're not doing very well. Number 10 is you're doing quite well on this particular point. So we'll add up your points at the end and see how well you're doing. A maximum score would be 70. But what I want you to do is to make sure that you have an opportunity just to evaluate how you are doing as a parent in teaching these particular skills to your kids. When you teach these skills, your kids will be ready for life. They'll be ready to handle the challenges at school and in playground and community and wherever else they are. But you need to teach these skills. And what are they? Well, okay, number 1, you need to teach decision making and problem solving. You need to teach those to your kids. You have to give problems to your kids and let them figure it out. Let them come to some realization of solving a problem or making a decision. You give your kids 2 or 3 choices. You don't give them 12 choices. You give them 2 or 3 choices when they're young and let them choose. Give them the opportunity to choose what socks they wear, what pairs of shoes they wear, what shirt they wear, or whatever. Let them make some of these basic decisions. And then let them decide when they take their chores, when they take out the garbage, whether they do it before dinner, after dinner, or whatever. Let them decide. Let them make that kind of decision. Give them some kind of a problem. Play the what-if game. What if you dropped your kids downtown of the town in which you live, right downtown, and they have to find their way home? They have to take the bus and get home on the bus. That's a problem that they have to solve. So play the what-if game. Set up a situation like that and see how they would handle it. What would they do if they were faced with a problem like that? Or if they were left behind or they were lost somewhere, how would they get a hold of you? What would they do? What would they do until you came and rescued them, so to speak? So you play various games like that of what if. And that helps them make decisions and helps them solve problems. And they develop that skill of problem solving and decision making. So how are you doing there? Are you teaching your children to make decisions? Are you teaching your child to solve problems? Are you giving them problems to solve? Are you giving them decisions to make? And you're leading them in the process of that? Now, don't give them decisions to make that over their head, but give them decisions that are appropriate to their age. Okay, that's number one. Okay, give yourself a score from 1 to 10. How are you doing there? Now, teach them assertive communication skills. Teach your children communication skills that are assertive. Now, we have assertive on one end. We have aggressive communication skills on the other end. We don't want that. And there are kind of passive communication skills in between. We don't want that either. Passive means they don't talk. That means they don't express themselves. That means they just keep everything to themselves and keep it within themselves. Aggressive means that they're hostile and they're angry and they're too expressive. They're overdoing it. And they're mad and they're expressing how angry they are, but inappropriately. So assertive communication skills is what you want. You want them to learn how to just speak up and how to speak their feelings and speak what their preferences are and to ask and to consider and to have other people know what they want. But have them just speak it in calm terms and in gentle terms and in communication terms and in conversational terms. That's how kids are to be raised and be taught. We want the communication skills to be assertive, not passive, and not aggressive. Now, how are you doing on that? Give yourself a score from 1 to 10. Are you assertive? Are you teaching assertive communication skills? Or are you aggressive? Are you passive? And that's what you're teaching your children. That's not good. So give yourself a 1 to 10. How are you teaching assertive communication skills? How good are you in teaching that? Okay? Now, here's number 3. Teach them to listen. Teach children how to listen. Of course, you want to get their attention. Of course, children should listen. They should be quiet and listen. Then there's opportunity to talk, and you listen. Then they listen while you talk. And then you listen while they talk, and so on. You go back and forth. It's kind of like a tennis game almost. But you get that idea of good listening skills. Look in the eye. Look at the face. Nod. Make comments. Ask additional questions. That's good listening skills, you see. You listen by getting more information. Sometimes somebody says something, but you want a little bit more information so that you understand it. That means you're listening attentively. That means you're listening quite openly and quite favorably. So teach your children good listening skills. So how are you doing? How good are you at that? Are your kids learning to be good listeners? Well, give yourself a score from 1 to 10 on that point, okay? Now, let's move on. You have to also teach your children to be independent. You have to empower them. You don't want children who are helpless. You don't want children who don't do anything or can't do anything or won't do anything without your help or without you being there. Children need to be raised in such a way that they can learn independent living skills. Do they know how to do their dishes? Do they know how to do their laundry? Do they know how to make their bed? Do they know how to keep their room reasonably clean? Reasonably clean, okay? And do the children know how to go places? Do they know how to solve problems? Do they know how to contact you wherever you work and wherever you are in the course of the day? Are you teaching your child to be independent, take care of themselves? Do you leave them alone for little periods of time and take care of themselves? Or you have to be with them, hovering them all the time. You can't be a helicopter parent. You can't be a helicopter parent. That means you're hovering over them all the time and kind of checking on them and being in their life. Give your children some freedom. Give your children some independence. And empower them to make decisions. Empower them to know that they can handle situations if something should come up. Again, play the what-if game. What would they do if somebody came knocking on the door and they were home alone? What would they do in that situation? What would they do if the dog got out and got lost? How would they handle that? I mean, there are these what-if situations that you can create and teach your children how to solve problems, how to make decisions, but empower them to be independent and to take care of situations themselves without always having to rely on you as the parent. They can't be helpless. Don't raise helpless kids. That's not the goal. Okay, give yourself a point from 1 to 10. Are you teaching your children to be independent? Are you empowering them to be independent? That if you are, you're up in that high end of the range. If you're not, you're at the low end of the range. So how are you doing there? How well are you empowering your children to be independent? Okay, now, next. What about self-esteem? What about social esteem? I've mentioned this before, and it's a very important point. You want your children to think well of themselves. That's what we call self-esteem. You want to encourage your children to think well of themselves, to know that they have skills, to know they have abilities, to know that they have successes, and that they're achieving, and that they're doing well, and that they are proud of themselves, and they're pleased with themselves, and they respect themselves, and they love themselves. That's what you want to teach. You want to encourage that kind of thinking. But you also want to encourage them to know that other people think well of them too. You want them to know that your friends think well of your children and think well of each of them. That they tell you good things about your children. Pass it on to your kids. Your kids need to know that other people like them. Other people think well of them. Other people want to be with them. Other people enjoy them. Other people admire them. Other people respect them. That message has to be given to your kids. So they have to get both self-esteem and social esteem. Think well of themselves, but know that other people think well of them as well. So how are you doing in that? Are you teaching those skills? Give yourself a 10 if you're doing quite well on that. Give yourself a 1 or 2 or 3 if you're not doing very well in that particular area. Okay, and here's another one. Make sure that you teach the importance of being rewarded, the importance of positive reward and positive reinforcement and affirmation and encouragement. Make sure that you teach your children that to be rewarded is right and proper. When they do well, they're commended. When they do well, they're praised. When they succeed, they're given a special privilege, perhaps, or they're given some kind of reward, a tangible reward, or they earn something. You do. When you do something well, you get a prize, you get money, you get various kind of things. Same with your children. When they do well, you want to make sure that they know that reinforcement, that reward and compliments and praise and approval and prizes come their way. And are you helping them understand that? Are you providing those kind of sources of reinforcement for them when your children are doing well? Hope you don't ignore your children doing well. Hope you don't ignore the children's success in the day of school. You want to check how your kids are doing. You want to be asking questions. You want to be monitoring them. You want to be following them closely so that you know that they're doing well. You want to catch them being good. You want to catch them being successful. You want to catch them achieving. You want to catch them being self-respectful. And then praise them for that. Commend them for that. That's kind of the important thing that you as a parent need to do, and to make sure that you are on the task of that one. Your kids need to do well, but you need to praise them, and they need to appreciate the importance of praise and the importance of being rewarded, and that in the future they'll work for that. They'll strive for that. They'll try to earn additional reward and respect and appreciation, compliments from other people. And here's the last one. Teach your children the importance of family bond. A family bond. You know, as a family, you do things together. As a family, you laugh together. As a family, you play together. As a family, you joke together. As a family, you just work puzzles together. As a family, you do simple things together. As a family, you solve problems together. As a family, you make decisions together. As a family, you go to events together. You broaden your perspective. You broaden your lifestyle. You bring into your life people, and you bring them into the life of the family. You know, you don't have a situation where kids have their friends and you as parents have your friends. Bring them together so that you have a bond, and that the kids' friends are part of you as a family, and your friends are part of your children, so that there's this circle of friendship, this circle of a bond that takes place within the home and within the family life. So teach family bonding. Do things that are special. Do things which are unusual. Do things that are important. Do things that have value to your kids, that they'll remember them. Take pictures, take photos, make albums. I mean, do all the kind of things that help children not only have good experiences and unusual experiences and good experiences, but they'll remember them on into their life. And they'll praise them and they'll honor them and they'll be proud of having had those experiences. They'll be happy. So family bonding is extremely important in that regard. Okay, now here we just walked through a whole series of things that you as a parent need to do to teach your children. Some of the things you need to teach your children. Now, you gave yourself a score from 1 to 10 on each of these points. If you gave yourself a 10 on all of them, you'd be a 70. And so you probably didn't get that. Yeah, you might have been cheating a little bit if you did that. But you shouldn't be all down by a 10 either, where you gave yourself a 1 on all these points. You don't want to do that. You see? So, where are you? What kind of score did you get? Somewhere in between. Hopefully you're in the 35, 45, 50, 60, wherever. But see where you came out. in that area of how well you do. And then look at the kind of areas that you need to improve. Look at the areas you're doing well in. That's good. Look at the areas you're not doing so well in. Now, get a design. Know what to do. Get a strategy to improve that. Get some help. Get somebody to help you. If you need some help to change a particular area of your life or get better at it or to do it in a more consistent way, just don't struggle with this area alone. There are people around that you can ask for help. So do it. Don't hide behind your own pride. Get out there and get some help and get moving on life so that you're an effective and a successful parent and your kids are coming along, as well. Okay? Now, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back in just a little bit. Now, here's the deal. There are some homes, there are some children that are depressed. We have homes where children are depressed. And we're going to take a look at some of these depressed children, but also what you can do as a parent to address depression in your home, depression in one of your children, or all your children, maybe in yourself for that matter. But we're going to take a look at depression and what you can do to overcome that particular area of difficulty in your child's life, and you as a parent can be effective there as well. Okay? Don't forget the book, Dr. Teach Me to Parent. We're using this as a source. Okay? See you in just a little bit.
A dentist who has a passion for superior aesthetics and comfort, you need Dr. Christopher Wong with Cedar North Dental. Call 559-432-4948 or visit cedarnorthdental.com. Fresno Rescue Mission's Rescue the Children program is a protected, secure environment providing emergency and long-term services to women at risk, abused, homeless, previously incarcerated, and women with children. The community provides women and their children a place to get away from destructive lifestyles, offering a place to heal, learn, and grow. Give to the Fresno Rescue Mission today.
Opportunity isn't always given a door to knock on, so we built one. The door to our kids' futures is often crowded by temptation and misdirection, making it difficult for them to reach their full potential. But once they enter that door, our club door, inside is a place of hope and opportunity. The second home for the nearly 4 million kids we serve every year after school and in the summer. Inside our doors, youth development professionals and mentors provide the guidance, support, and encouragement needed for every kid and teen in an enriching and safe environment, no matter their circumstances. Boys and Girls Club set the standard as the #1 advocate for youth during the out-of-school time. We assure success is within reach for all kids and teens in America, with club members on track to graduate from high school with a plan for the future, demonstrating good character, and living a healthy lifestyle. We're leading America's youth, fostering success well beyond the basketball court through hundreds of programs, from robotics to the culinary arts, providing unlimited opportunities for those seeking. This hope and opportunity builds character, creates leaders, and helps all kids define their future, ensuring young people find their passions, reach for their dreams, and achieve their full potential. Much can be found inside our 4,000 doors nationwide and on military installations around the world. Boys and Girls Clubs is the opportunity for all kids, and our doors are open. Great futures start here.
Satellite television transforming the Middle East through hope in Jesus Christ. Sat7USA.org.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Okay, nice to have you back, and this is our final segment of the session today. And we've been looking at some of the things that you as a parent need to do to make sure you're healthy, to make sure that you are strong as a parent and that you have your act together. And then we looked at it in terms of how you as a parent need to have certain skills to teach your children, because you're the child's teacher. You're the primary teacher in the child's life. You're the first teacher in the child's life. So are you teaching your children the proper skills and the right skills? And we looked at some of those kind of things today. Now what I want you to do is, on a more sober note, in our homes today we have children who are depressed, probably more than ever in history. More than 20% of the children today experience some level of depression at some point in time in their life. Events happen, situations develop, and stresses build, and kids don't have the skills and the support systems and so on to really handle life events and get depressed. Interestingly, we're seeing girls having a higher level of depression than ever before. Girls are increasing in number as to the number of girls being depressed these days than in past days. It's a sad note, it's a serious note, but we need to understand it. We need to deal with it. We need to look at ways within our home we can help our children overcome depression or prevent depression. Now, let me just say this first and foremost. If you got a kid that's depressed, you get him into therapy. You get a psychologist and you get into therapy. And you do it as a family, and you do it together, and you do it seriously, and you do it over a period of time to make sure that you deal with this issue of depression within your family. You start with that. Okay? Now, there are things you can do in a family. You can do in a home. You can do as parents. You're not helpless. You're not helpless at all. In fact, you hold the key to a great deal of the healing that takes place within your child if he's depressed, and you can do it within your home. Now, depressed children. Now, here we are. Depressed children often engage in self-harm behavior, cut themselves. Some even try to commit suicide or talk about it. But keep your children physically close to you and physically active. Okay? Keep them in sight. Keep them around you. But make sure they're active. Engage in sports. Engage in activities in the home. Go places with you as a parent. Do things as a family. Keep yourself involved and keep yourself active. That's number one. Depressed children have a way of just kind of sitting and doing nothing. You create the activity level and engage not only the depressed child in your home, but all the children, all the people in your home. So there's a kind of an activity level that prevails. Okay, that's number one. Number two is this. Watch sleep patterns. You know, kids who are depressed tend to sleep they sleep erratic, number one. They wake up in the middle of the night, they go back to sleep, they wake up, back and forth. They're erratic in their sleeping patterns. They go to bed late, they get up early, or they go to bed early and they sleep late in the morning, on into the day, on Saturdays and on Sundays. Their sleep patterns are all off whack. Depressed children need a sleep pattern of maybe 8, 9, 10 hours, perhaps, but the same 8, 9, 10 hours. You shouldn't be sleeping 12 and 14 hours on into noon and 1 o'clock in the day. That's not right. That's not good. But maybe an extra hour of sleep from what is normal would be good for a depressed child. And a nap in the afternoon would then be a better way to handle sleep with a child. A 1 hour nap rather than letting them sleep late into the day or all day, which some depressed kids do. So watch your sleep patterns. Make sure they're good sleep patterns. No more than 10 hours a day, and maybe a nap, or 9 hours plus a nap. But keep them pretty consistent when they go to bed at certain hours and they get up at a certain hour. Okay? Okay, that's number 2. Number 3 is this. Make your children engage in positive daily activities that result in achievement. That's the issue. It's not just being busy, but there are things you can do that lead to achievement. Even working a puzzle together as a family leads to achievement when you have completed the puzzle. I mean, there are simple little things that you can do. You can do a chore together. You can do a task together. You work in the yard together. There are things that you can engage your child in, activities which are positive, but there's achievement always at the end of it. There's something that they have done. There's something they've achieved and been successful in. You see, children tend to withdraw and isolate when they're depressed. But you want to get an activity that they will engage in and then feel good about it because they've achieved something. Maybe teach them how to paint, play an instrument, play and learn a new game. I mean, whatever it might be, that you can celebrate the success of that. So look for things you can do, look for things your child might like to do, but tie it in with the level of achievement and success and accomplishment. And make sure you celebrate achievements and accomplishments when they do occur, with your family, with your kids. Okay? Now, here's the next point. Engage in muscular and mental relaxation activities. There's ways to relax. You see, there are ways to relax. Your muscles are like rubber bands. Teach your child just to relax and let that muscle just relax and be calm and relaxed and at ease. And then they'll feel more at peace. Mentally, put some music on that the child might like, the child might relax with. Read a book, play a game, do some event together that's relaxing and that's refreshing and that helps the child learn how to relax. You want to teach the child not to be in tension and stress, but learn the child how to let go of tension, let go of stress, and engage in relaxing activities. What are the relaxation activities that your children enjoy? What are the relaxing activities that you like and that you as a family like to do together? If you have them, identify them and do them and engage in them. Make sure there's these kind of positive activities where kids ordinarily would be passive and not seek them out, okay? And just maintain the tension levels, within them. Here's the next point. It's a very important one. Schedule talk time. Schedule talk time with your kids. That's usually when you drive in the car together. And maybe you need to just do that on purpose. Just put your kid in the car and take a drive. Go up to the mountains, and there's a lot of talk time there. It might be when you go back and forth to school, go back and forth to a store. It might be just after dinner. It might be before bedtime. When kids come home from school, that's usually not the time they want to talk. It's usually the time they just want to be to themselves. They've been active all day long, overwhelmed perhaps in social stimulation. But later in the day, later in the evening, they may be more open to talk. So it's scheduled talk time. And sometimes you have to schedule it so that the child knows that we're going to sit down now and we're going to talk and we're going to kind of explore what took place today and what were the experiences of the day and what's going on tomorrow and what's going on this coming weekend, and have family time, have family talk time. Not just with the depressed child, but as a family. Family talk time is very, very important. But make sure you have time to talk to your depressed child and give him that little extra special time of talk. So usually it's towards the end of the day, but not always. But make sure that it happens. You've got to schedule it. If you wait for it to happen, it's not going to happen. You've got to plan it. You've got to program it and make sure that it does, take place. Here's another very important point. Give a lot of praise. Give a lot of affirmation. Be very liberal in your rewards. Be very liberal in your recognition. You see, somebody said this, that for every time you criticize a child, you need to have already praised them at least 5 times, if not 7. Okay? In other words, you have to pay for it in advance. If you have really praised and commended and rewarded and affirmed your child 5 to 7 times, that child will allow you words of criticism or words of correction, you see? But if you have it the other way around, your child will just reject your words of correction. So you can't do that. You have to pay in advance to be a corrective parent, to be a critical parent. You pay in advance by being a praising and affirming and complimentary, parent. So get your act together on that particular point. So how you doing there? Make sure that you schedule opportunities to reward your child and to affirm your child, and have time for that. Maybe bedtime, where you can just kind of walk through the events of the day and just say, you did this well today, and you did that well today, and I appreciated when you did this, and when you said this, whatever you said, I really appreciated that. I mean, give them a little feedback, of compliment, okay? Now, going on, you need to have a balanced diet for your kids, just like you need a balanced diet for yourself. Fruits and vegetables are good for you as a parent. They're very good for kids. What do fruits and vegetables do? They develop the brain. Okay? That's what you're doing. You're feeding the brain when you feed fruits and vegetables to your kid. So make sure that in your family you have an abundance of fruit and vegetables that are there for the nutrition of your family. Because you're always got to remember you're feeding the brain. And when you feed the brain, you're feeding the heart. So you're developing that child's body, heart, brain. When you feed that child the good stuff of life, the fruits and vegetables, and not the processed foods of potato chips and stuff like that. Keep that out of the house. Okay? Apple a day, remember. Apple a day, remember. In fact, it's better to have 2 apples a day than 1 apple if you're going to get anything at all. Okay? Okay, now moving on. Establish healthy ways to deal with the strong emotions. There's strong emotions. Depressed kids have very strong emotions. And when they get loose, when they get mad, when they get upset, those emotions just kind of hit the ceiling. That's not good. You shouldn't let your kid just be expressive and say anything about anybody, about anything, and out of control. The purpose is to express yourself under control, with self-control. That's what's important to do as a parent. Make sure that you help the child express himself, but do so in a way that you can hear it, that you can listen, and that you can then respond, and that you can dialogue, and you can talk with the child about whatever it is they're upset about. Address what they're upset about. Help them express what they're upset about. Respond to whatever they're upset about. Come up with a plan about whatever they're upset about. Come up with a decision. Come out with a problem-solving strategy. But you do it in a conversational way, not in yelling manner. Okay? Be very careful now. Kids, when they're depressed, tend to be explosive. And you can't allow the explosiveness to prevail in your home. That's not healthy, and it's not good. Okay? Now, next, let me ask you this. How well do you listen to your kids? Do you listen to your children? Good parents listen to their children. Hear their children. Hear the heart cry of their children. Hear the hurt within their children. Good parents hear the joy of their children. Hear the happiness of their children. And they get on board, and they appreciate, and they empathize, and they become part of the child's life. If it's sad, if it's unhappy, if it's hurt, parents get involved in the compassion of that and the empathy of that. If they're having successes and achievement and they're happy, of course, parents get involved in that as well and join in on the happiness and share the happiness and celebrate, together. But listen to your children. Know where they are. Know what they're feeling. Know what they're thinking. Know what they want. Know what they don't want. You'll only know that when you stop what you're doing and listen to your kids. You've got to stop what you're doing and listen to your kids. And then that means you got to ask questions. That means you got to have a talk time. That means you have to have an openness with them. That means you have to have time that you will be together, as a family. And you and the child will spend special time together. That means you go spend time in the car, driving, where kids will talk. That means you're going to spend time in maybe a long walk around the block, because that's opportunity to talk and to listen. Create the environment of listening, whatever that is. That's what kids want. They want their parents to listen to them. And we are not generally good listeners as parents. We want to do all the talking. See? And that's not the way it goes. We as parents must relax and just let the child talk, and we take it in, and we absorb it, and we understand it, and then we begin to deal with it, and we respond to it in a positive way, in a constructive way, so your child feels at the end of a conversation they've been heard, they've been listened to, they've been appreciated, they've been respected. And you come up with a plan of how you're going to deal with this issue. You're going to deal with the problem. You're going to meet the child's need. You're going to try to resolve the child's stress or tension or whatever it is that he's experiencing. Always talk, always resolves or results in some action on your part as a parent to resolve a matter and improve the situation and help the child feel appreciated and respected and regarded well. That's your job, as a parent. And now lastly, here's the last point, okay? Make sure your children have friends, but good friends. Know your friends of your children. Know who they're hanging out with. Kids today have opportunity to be with all kinds of friends, all kinds of peers, all kinds of peer influence. And you need, as a parent, to make sure that that peer influence is good, that peer influence is consistent with the values of your home and with you as a family and you as a parent. When your children are hanging out and spending time with kids who have an entirely different value system, you're in trouble. And your kids are going to be in trouble. So match up the value system that you have in your home and that you have as parents with the friends that they associate with. Because then that value system is being supported. Otherwise, it's being challenged. And you might lose, because peer influence is very powerful, especially as you get into the adolescent years. It's a very important and very, very powerful influence. So if you're not paying attention to who your kids are spending time with, your kids could be marched down the garden path that you will have a hard time bringing them back. So make sure that you monitor who your kids are spending time with. Have them in your home. That's how you get to know. Spend time with them when you go to games and you go to school events. Meet your kids' friends. Talk with them. Get to know them. Go out for ice cream after a school event together. Have their friends come. And that will give you a sense of whether this is a friendship that you want to encourage or you want to discourage or even stop. There are some friends you need to just stop having. And there are others you just need to discourage and caution your kids about. So make sure that your kids have this kind of sense of good friendship, positive friendship, that's consistent with the values of your home. Okay? So, depression in the home is tough. It's a tough one. It's hard to live with a depressed child. And sometimes your child is depressed because your home is depressed. You as parents are depressed. Deal with it within yourself. Examine yourself. Know how you're handling it. And then just help your child. These are some of the things that you can do. You can be empowered as a parent to help your child with depression, but make sure your child is also in a therapy program with somebody, because then that child will have opportunity to discuss it in more detail and in more depth than maybe would with you in talking. So supplement whatever you do with a good, positive psychotherapy program for your kid. Or what I say it the other way around, supplement their therapy with good parenting, as I've just kind of walked you through, and some of the things you as a parent can do to make sure you are on the right track as a parent and helping your child overcome this issue of parenting, or of depression. Okay? Now, before we go today, let me just end with a little quote that I would like to give you as a parenting tip of the day. And it's an important little tip that might be helpful to you, okay? Here's your parenting tip of the day. The most important things we can give our kids is our time, our love, and our values. And I might go on to say this, and values are caught more than they are taught. Now there's your tip of the day. Look at what you give your kids. Look at the importance of that, your time and your love and your values. That's precious. Only you can do that. Only you can do that. No school teacher can do that. Only you can do that. But values are caught. That means they watch you. They observe you as a parent, as a couple, as a family. They watch what you say, how you talk, how you live, the choices you make, the decisions you make, the problems you solve, or the problems you create, if you will. Kids watch that. And that's where they learn their value system. So examine yourself as a parent. Okay? Now, as you go today, here I want you to remember 3 things. I have a podcast. It's on about 5 days a week called The Psychology Report. The Psychology Report. You can access it. It's on the screen there, thepsychologyreport.buzzsprout.com. There's about 200 topics in there on parenting and marriage and all aspects of psychology and living. So find some topics that might be of help to you. Listen to them. Listen to them when you take the car and drive. Listen to them on the way to school in the morning. Listen to them on the way to work. Listen to them that would be appropriate to you and would be helpful to you as a parent, and maybe improve your parenting skills, again, through the podcast and the topics that are there. They're only about 12, 15 minutes each, but they're very important topics of daily living. So access that, would you? The podcast. Go to my website, booksbyhedberg.com, booksbyhedberg.com. The book that we're using now, remember, is Dr. Teach Me to Parent. And there are other books there on healthcare and on emotional intelligence and on young children, how to teach them values and how to teach them the words that they need to learn. It's called Kids Alive. So pick up that book. There's several books on the website there that might be of help, to you. And then lastly, before you go, why don't you become a sponsor of the program? If you're a sponsor of Dr. Teach Me to Parent, we'll put you on the screen. Just like other ads we have, you can be one of them. But I'll also include you on my podcast and give you advertising time on my podcast as well. So there's 2 opportunities for you, and give us consideration to that. We'd be glad, we'd welcome you as a sponsor of the program. Nice to have you with me today. Thanks for joining me, and be a good parent this week, okay? See you again. See you next week. Bye-bye.
CentralValleyTalk.com